Welcome to the podcast where we talk about how to switch to a tech career in your 30s and 40s, maybe even your 50s. Today, I'd like to honor the valid concern. How long should it take me and how many applications should it take before I get an interview or even maybe a response from a hiring manager or a recruiter or a company I want? Welcome to How to Switch to a Tech Career in Your 30s and 40s. It's the podcast where we love to get excited and down to brass tacks, talking about the real things that help you move the needle when you switch from any other career into a high-tech or IT career. And this is where we're going to discuss the real hints, tips, tricks, and the methods and the protocol that help you switch into a real tech career. So welcome. Yeah, so getting into a real quote-unquote tech career, something that is higher paying, something that is a stretch for you, and you're coming out of a different type of industry. And I even hate to say industry because almost every industry uses some form of tech now and have employ tech people to help them with their tech. So almost everything is a real tech job now. It's becoming that way. And I guess wherever you're headed, you want to know how long it will take you. So there's a number of months or weeks and how many job applications you'll have to fill out for you to expect a result. Let's just say that the amount of time is going to be determined by the number of applications you put in, but also there's another parameter here, and that is your persistence. That is how well you adjust your resume to the job you're applying to. Another parameter which you have to be mindful of is when or how you apply. For example, using the easy apply on LinkedIn is not as good as finding the company website, going to it, finding the job on their website, and then applying there. And that's not even as good or as quality as finding the company, finding a contact person at the company, finding their email address if you can find it, emailing them, asking about the hiring manager's email address, and then if you get a response, sending your resume in that way. And they may simply just redirect you to their website to apply there. They probably will these days, unless it's a very small company. So those are some parameters to consider that may speed up your process. But as far as how many applications, when you're tuning into this, it might be helpful just to hear what I've heard out there. And maybe you have heard stuff like this too. I have heard of people who say they've done 200 applications and no job. I've heard the same type of person say they've done 200 applications and they have not gotten a response back. I kind of don't believe that. I've had someone else tell me from a survey that they've filled out 500 applications. And when I pressed back and said, "Are you sure 500?" they replied with yes. And then when I said, "Well, did you track the results?" they did not respond. If you filled out 500 job applications, I want to meet you. And the reason for that is because you must be an extremely persistent person or a person who's got a system down or a virtual assistant or using an AI tool to apply to jobs for you, because to apply to one position often takes 20 to 30 minutes if you're using a website and a corporation's website. However, if you hit easy apply on LinkedIn, I can see how you could get up to 500. And the problem with that is I'm not sure that you want to be messing with the easy apply button. So if you're doing that, I would suggest that you, as I mentioned before, get around that and figure out a way to be more direct in your application to the company. When things are super easy, everyone likes to do them. And that means you're going to have a harder time standing out in that pile of applicants coming into the company who allows an easy apply application. Okay, I hope that makes sense for you. The types, the amount of applications you do, I'm just going to give a scenario here and see how this would feel to you. If you have, let's say you're someone who's filled out 10 applications and you're discouraged that you don't have any results. You don't get any feedback. You don't get a response. Maybe you get what sounds like an automatic response of, thank you for your application. Unfortunately, you don't meet qualifications. We will be looking to other applicants, something like that. You fill out 10 of those. Let's just pretend you took 10 minutes to 20 minutes to fill out each one. So now we're talking about 100 to 200 minutes to fill these out over, let's say it took a week to do this. That means every day you were spending up to, about 40 minutes, Monday through Friday, 40 minutes filling out applications. I'm not sure if you have really done a lot of work here to expect a result. If you were to consult with me, I would say you've got to go back and keep applying till you start to get a few more responses. And then you could probably say after 20 to 30 applications, there's something drastically wrong with the way I'm applying or my resume or the way I appear on LinkedIn. And by appear, I don't mean how you personally look. I mean your setup on LinkedIn, your profile on the web. All right. So if you fill out 10 applications, it's probably not enough data to draw conclusions. If you fill out 20 to 30, I think you're getting to that point. Now, if all of those are easy apply, I would say look at your LinkedIn profile and make some edits there. Okay. But if these are just applying on company websites, you've probably got a problem that has to be solved. So we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 weeks there before you can figure out if you're doing 2 applications a day. If you're not doing 2 applications a day, it's 1 a day. Now we're talking a month. Okay. If you want to speed up your process, simply do more applications per day. And after 20, if you're not getting the results you want, and the result should be you want screening calls. If you're not getting that, maybe your resume is trying to do way too much for you. It's trying to get you a job instead of trying to get you the screening call. So go back and look at your resume and say, is this something that's attracting attention, or does it just seem to fit in with everyone else and what everyone else is doing? All right. So you have to think of yourself like a business. Keep metrics on this. I use a resume KPI, and my clients use a resume KPI, and it merely tracks the file name of the resume, the URL of the job application, the response, whether it's no response, just a blank cell there in that row. And if the response is an auto response, put it there. If the response is different or customized or personalized, you've kind of got a win there. You have good data to say, look, they saw it. They actually looked at it. Now, the other response is got you a screening call. Okay. We want to get that response. You can start to gather data from the resume files you've created, which ones get responses. So I would track that. Which resume gets a response? And look at how you've modified it. Maybe there were some keywords that you copied from the job application for that company that you should be repeating in every single instance of your resume. Then look at the type of company that responded, the size of it. It could be that if you're getting to interviews, let's back up. It could be that if you're not getting interviews and you've only been applying to really large companies and you've done it 20 to 30 times, it's probably time to reconsider what size of company to apply to. So I would say 20 to 30 resumes. And then let's talk about time. As time goes by, something happens when we don't get the results we want. When people are not persistent, time gets very expensive. In my hypothetical situation, I mentioned someone filling out 10 to 20 to 30 applications in the course of 2 weeks to 1 month. I think that it's very rare for a person to not get discouraged during those 2 weeks or a month and not be able to finish and maybe even give up trying to apply to a tech position. See, when you're doing the switch to a tech career, you need a lot of support around you. And if you don't have the support, what happens is you get discouraged, you start to become jaded, and then your hope and dream starts to fizzle. And because of that, you have to get more support around you in the form of a cohort, a coach, a strategic advisor, a paying client. When you do a project, you get a paying client that will keep you going because you'll be motivated to learn the right things. So I call that pro performance. That's a level in my strategy. And so I hate to even do hypotheticals saying 2 weeks to a month of applying, you should expect a result, because then you're going to get the 2 weeks to 1 month in your mind and get discouraged when you've only done 15 applications instead of 30. And now, well, Brooks said 1 month, and it's been a month, and you don't have what you wanted. Well, you just likely didn't do the work. I would encourage you to keep track of your data, keep track of each resume you use to apply when you attach it to an application. I would encourage you to be really stringent and get excited about applying and treat it as your current job. You might have a job selling insurance or making coffee at Starbucks or driving Uber or DoorDash right now, and you're trying to get into a more sustainable career in tech. Well, consider applying as your side job and pretend you're investing in the future, and you will be paid for this, just not now. I hope that's helpful, and I hope it might give you an estimate of, when you should expect responses and when you should expect to get a tech job. That's a different story when you can actually secure a job. But getting responses at all, you should get them between 15 and 30 resumes or applications, as long as they are not easy apply on LinkedIn. All right, I hope that's helpful. If it's not, would you let me know? I would love to hear some feedback. You can leave a comment, I believe, here. You can also find me on YouTube at my channel. I'll post it below, and I'll also post other links below for you to get some helpful information. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. How to Switch to a Tech Career in Your 30s and 40s is the podcast that tries to help you switch into a tech career, no matter what your background is, give you some support and some encouragement along the way. Now, if you're stuck and you need some help, give me an email at info@techlead.com, info@techleed.com, all spelled wrong. Until next time, my name is Brooks Haynes, and I've been your host today, and I thank you for listening. From the shores of the Vermilion River in southeastern Minnesota, have a good day.